أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين اللهم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب زدني علما رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير ثم أما بعد الحمد لله to you all السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, as we resume our Islamic studies class today, last week we sat down, but it was not live streamed because we had a consultation among ourselves on how we can take forward this Islamic studies class, what kind of topics we wanted to study. And we had a discussion and I suggested three main topics, and the primary choice, or the choice that was preferred by most brothers that were present, was that they would like to speak or understand or learn a bit more about spirituality and tazkiyatun nafs and elements of purification of the soul, diseases of the heart and rectification of them. And the second choice from the brothers that was suggested was topic-based discussions, masail and issues that arise, mas'alas that are new and relevant, often answers to which are not clear or obscure, or there's a challenge in finding a correct, balanced, researched answer. Those were the two preferred options. And there was a third suggestion, which was about Islamic trading and selling and buying in the bab of buyu', the chapter of transactions in Islam, which was maybe not the preferred choice. So inshallah, as we go forward, we will be combining the first two choices, which is that our discussions will be focused on spirituality, but they will be topic-based. So we'll select topics of spirituality and cover them, and as and when needed, we will discuss also topics which may not be directly to do with spirituality, but to do with Islamic studies nonetheless. To do with fiqh. For example, in previous lessons, we've had complete workshops on janaza and kafan and dafan and so on. We've had a whole detailed discussion also on the whole Palestine activism, al-Qadiyya al-Filistiniya, the Palestinian cause, and how to actively campaign for it, both from an Islamic spiritual element as well as a political and activist angle, which was about protesting and etc. And we discussed that mas'ala in some detail. It was like an hour and a bit fiqh discussion on that, and that's all available on our Islamic studies series on our Darul Ummah YouTube page. So we will be discussing topic-based, and it will be primarily based on spirituality, but every now and then you might find us discussing topics which are very relevant, capture our minds, and everyone's seeking an answer to, inshallah. Again, if you have a topic that you think is very, very pressing, needs to be discussed, then you're welcome to send in those suggestions. You can suggest to me directly, or you can, on YouTube, people like to discuss and comment, so you can also send in those suggestions. Since this is the beginning of the beginning of a new style of Islamic studies lessons, I think it's only fitting and correct that we begin with the topic of intentions. This is the beginning of a series of discussions on elements of tazkiyatun nafs and spirituality, sicknesses of the heart, and curing and attempting to cure them and seeking shifa from them. So the first and foremost discussion should be around intentions. For intention is everything. The actions are based upon intentions. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. And because of the seriousness of niyyah, the A'immah of hadith have brought forward the hadith of niyyah even before the chapter of Revelation. Because even if you are studying Revelation, the study of Revelation, as magnificent, as glorious, as miraculous as it is, if it is not corrected and guided with correct intention, then it means nothing. Because for us, of course, it holds its value in and of itself, but for us it means nothing. So that's why the first hadith that everyone studies is إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. Indeed, actions are based upon their intentions. And this is the part or the beginning of a longer hadith which was narrated by Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar, which is about فَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ, the one whose hijrah was for Allah and His Rasul, then his hijrah will be for Allah and His Rasul. As for if someone did hijrah for the sake of something other than Allah and His Rasul, then the hijrah will be because of that reason. Meaning, whatever you intend, if you come to the masjid today and your intention is, Ya Allah, I'm only going to worship you and to get closer to you, then that's your intention. But if you think, I'm going to the masjid to meet my friend and I'll also pray, then your intention will be for that, your friend. As for the prayer part, because that was not purely for the sake of Allah, it will not be accepted. And Allah said about that in Surah Al-Bayyinah, as we recited in Salatul Isha today, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. They have only been commanded to worship Allah mukhlisin, with ikhlas, with sincerity, with just this one thing, which is for Allah only. Akhlasa yukhlisu. Ikhlasan is to for something to be purely for that reason. That only. Khalisan liwajhi al-karim. So Allah is saying He wants our ibadah to be only for Him. And the hadith says Allah is pure and accepts only that which is pure. Allah is pure and will only accept that which is pure. Allah doesn't need anything from us. أنتم الفقراء إلى الله يا أيها الناس أنتم الفقراء إلى الله والله هو الغني الحميد. We are faqir to Allah. We need Allah. Allah is rich beyond any need and beyond us. So therefore, Allah doesn't need. We need. And because we need, we're slaves, we're servants, we need. That's why when we seek, it has to be sought with purity. If you present to Allah mixed up with polluted intentions, then this will not be accepted. If I gave to you as a brother, as a Muslim, as a friend, milk mixed with a drop of urine, would you accept it? Or with alcohol, would you accept it? If I gave you any food mixed with impurity, would you accept it? This is you, just a servant, just a slave of Allah. Rather, you'd be offended, you'd be angered. So imagine presenting what Allah wants from us, ibadah, and this ibadah is not for Allah. I mean, Allah's not going to benefit from that because we can't benefit Allah. Allah demands from us ibadah for our own najat, for our own success in this life and next. And then we say, okay, Allah, we'll give it to you, but I'll pollute it with a million other intentions. Do you think this will please Allah or displease Allah? This will indeed, in anger, and it will be a means or reason for Allah's displeasure. And this is proven by the fact that the hadith which states the first groups of Jahannamis are those who did good but wrong intention. If I ask you, Yasin, give me a good ibadah, what's a good ibadah? Give me a good ibadah, what's a good ibadah? Dhikr. Give me a good ibadah. Fasting. Give me a good ibadah. Sorry? Sabr. Give me a good ibadah. Reading the Quran. Give me a good ibadah. 5 waqt salah. Give me a good ibadah. Charity. Umrah. Salah. Perfect. Naam? Sadaqah. Tamam. Sidq, honesty, truthfulness. The first groups of people to go to Jahannam will not be those who committed theft, or those who committed this, or those who committed that. The first groups who will be those with whom Jahannam will be ignited, Jahannam will be initiated. First of them will be Qari al-Quran, the one who recites the Quran but to please others and not Allah. So Allah will ask the Qari al-Quran, O Qari al-Quran, O reciter of the Quran, you recited the Quran, why did you recite it? He will say, Allah, to please you. Allah will say, no, you lied. You wanted the praise of people and you got it. So you got your reward, now go to Jahannam. And from the first groups of Jahannamiyun will be the person who gave sadaqah. Sadaqah, like you guys said. Sadaqah, sacrificing or supposedly sacrificing their wealth, hard-earned money, property. Allah will ask him, why did he give sadaqah? He will say, Allah, ya Allah, to please you. Allah will say, no, you wanted the praise of people. He will say, you're generous, you got it, khalas, go to Jahannam. And of them will also be the person who fought in the path of Allah, died fighting for the sake of Allah. Allah will ask him, why did you fight for the sake of Allah? Or why did you fight? He will say, for your sake, ya Allah. Allah will say, no, you fought so that people call you brave and courageous. So you got what you wanted, go to Jahannam. Can you imagine? Best of ibadat are being corrupted by bad intentions. We don't actually really contemplate and understand and focus on the importance of intentions. But the ulama and the Salaf al-Salihin, they knew very well the priority and the importance of intentions, and that's why they took time and effort to perfect them. The Sahaba would rush to Salah from the Adhan so that their intention and their focus is pure. Everything was sincerely for the sake of Allah. As long as the intention is purely for Allah, then it's accepted. Otherwise, it's useless. It's not just useless, it's a wizard, it's a punishment. Good deeds can become an adhab for us if our intentions are not accurate. Like I am saying this nasiha, and I am the most first and foremost required to have a correct mindset and intention. Otherwise, it's not a reward, it's not a good deed, it's a bad deed. It's a punishment from Allah. So therefore, our discussion briefly today is about intentions. Tamam? There are definitions, lughawi and technical. I'll skip that. I'll go to the statement of one of the aqwal of great scholars, one of the great scholars of our past, Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullahi alayhi. Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullahi alayhi was the student of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi alayhi. He said in his kitab I'lam al-Muwaqqi'in, Ibn al-Qayyim is saying about intention. He says, "An-niyya," about the niyyah, فَهِيَ رَأْسُ الْأَمْرِ. It is the head of the matter. It is the head, the epitome of the matter. And it is the pillar of everything. وَهُوَ أَسَاسُ. And it's the essence of everything. So head, the pillar, the essence. وَأَصْلُ. And it's the origin of everything. It's the head, the pillar, the essence, and the origin upon which everything else is built. If there is no foundation, there is nothing. You can have all of the cement and all of the concrete, you can have all the bricks and all of the decorations, but if the foundation is not there, it doesn't exist. If you don't have a good intention, if your intention isn't pure, your amal doesn't exist. Rather, it's a problem. Furthermore, the intention is the soul of the action. Soul of the action. If your intention is not present with your action, then your soul is not present. Is there any benefit of having, or is the body without a soul of any benefit? It's called a dead body. It's buried under the ground. The intention is the driver. Is the driver, drives the action forward. And it's the one that pushes the action forward, drives from forward and pushes from back. قائد وسائق. And every action is following its intention. Al-amal tabi' laha. The action is following the intention. And it's built upon that intention, like we said, it's the essence, the origin. So therefore, if the intention is correct, the action is correct. And if the intention is wrong, then the action is wrong, as nice as it may look, as good as it may sound, as grand as it may appear. If the intention is corrupt, batil, fasid, then the entire action is fasid. Someone may do khatma after khatma of the Quran. Someone may build an entire city and claim that it's for Allah. But their intention is otherwise. It's for me, for my name to be remembered, for me to be seen as a great grand king or an emperor. Then the entire city is useless in terms of its reward and its intention. Furthermore, intention is that which gives and brings tawfiq. If you want tawfiq from Allah, ability, Allah's aid, Allah's barakah in your action, then the intention has to be correct. If the intention is inaccurate, then there will be no tawfiq, no assistance from Allah. It will be faulty, it will be not guided or blessed by Allah. And so therefore, without the intention is loss. Okay? And based upon the level of purity of intentions, all of our matters of the dunya and akhirah differ. Have you not heard the hadith that says that the Prophet ﷺ said, had you seen the tawbah of this person, their tawbah would suffice for the whole of Medina. The level of sincerity dictates and decides how accepted, how lofty, how serious, how grand the ibadah is. It's a very delicate matter. Imam al-Ghazali rahmatullah alayhi said that no that the biggest of all enemies to you is you. You are fighting yourself. Your mind is fighting against you. Your soul, nafs al-ammara bis-su, is at war against you, and you are at war against it. If you can defeat your nafs, you have won. You're the victor. You are the warrior. Subhanallah. So that goes to show the statement of Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullah alayhi shows how essential, how fundamental the correction of our intention is. Let's look at some statements of other ulama from the Salaf al-Salihin about the importance and the gravity of niyyah and intention. Al-Imam Ibrahim al-Nakha'i, he says, he's narrating the state of another of the Salaf. He says, he would not do anything from the dunya or even ibadah. Ibadah, of course, you have to have intention, but even from the matters of the dunya without a good and a righteous intention attached to it. Even when he used to drink water, he would make the intention, a good intention for it. Ya Rabb, I am drinking water to be nourished so I can worship you. Ya Rabb, I am drinking water because it's an amana to protect my body. Ya Rabb, I am drinking water to be appreciative of your ni'mah upon me. So every single action of dunya or of the akhirah, he would couple it and match it and pair it and solidify it and guide it with an intention. Al-Imam Dawood al-Ta'i used to say, he said, I have seen that all goodness is with the goodness of intention. All goodness is with the goodness of intention. And then he said, and that is enough as goodness. The intention being pure is enough as a goodness, even if you thereafter are not even successful in your attempt. The great Sha'ir Labid said, and the Prophet ﷺ said he liked this statement of this. He said, Ala kullu shay, anything and everything that is void of Allah is batil. Anything and everything that is void of Allah, i.e. intention of Allah, is batil. It has no value. It has no meaning. Especially in ibadat, but also in adat, in daily life matters. If you can strengthen and fortify your sleeping. Ya Rabbi, I'm sleeping to rest myself so that I can wake up to fulfill my amana and fulfill my task as your slave and your servant, so that I can wake up for tahajjud, so I can wake up for fajr, so that I can rest my body, which is an amana, and fulfill my rights towards my family and my children, so I can, fulfill my duties as a servant of yours. So then your sleep becomes ibadah. Anything you do, if your intention is for the sake of Allah, to do some goodness with it, and subhanallah, you will be able to do that if your mindset is correct. And Allah talks about his ubbad, his pious servants, who see signs of Allah. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. In the creation of the heavens and the earth and the changing of the night and day. For us, the day goes, the night comes, night goes, the day comes. It's nothing, just dates. In fact, we can't wait for a certain amount of days to go for it to be the next month or for it to be the end of the month so you can get paid, or the next year. So some people are waiting for different things to grow up. Some people are waiting to get married. Some people are waiting to get jobs. Some people are waiting to get promoted. And it's all happening. You're waiting. But subhanallah, for those who have the ulul albab, those who have hearts of understanding, in the changing of the night and day is a sign of Allah. So because they are looking into these matters of the dunya with an eye of basira, of seeing, of understanding from Allah, they see things differently. Their lens are different. Their lens are being cleansed, and they can see things in a different angle. They can see in a different way. So they see the changing of the night and day and say, subhanallah, this is Allah's doing. How magnanimous, how magnificent. Nobody can change the day into night and the night into day, as Allah said in the Quran. And so they say, أصبحنا وأصبح الملك لله. He said, أمسينا وأمسى الملك لله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله. And they say this adhkar, and they mean it, and they see in this a sign of Allah. And so their dunya and their daily life becomes a form, by correction of intention, a form of ibadah. Abdullah ibn Mubarak said that a small action may become grand and great because of a good intention, whereas a great action may become small and insignificant, in fact even non-existent, in fact a form of punishment because of the corruption of the intention. Isn't that correct? Someone may give just shiqqi tamra, half of a date, 1p, 5p, 10p in sadaqah, but they intend with it Allah. They say, Ya Rabbi, only for you, this is what I can give, and I want to give for you, Ya Allah. That will hold more value than someone who spent billions for riyah, for showing off. Wallah, that's how it is. Actions are not based upon. That's why in the akhirah, your actions are not counted. They are weighed. Allah, then the mizan to weigh your actions. If it was based upon how many multitudes of actions, you would have counted. But weighing is based upon how pure your intention is, how sincere it is. And that's why that person who will come with nothing but La ilaha illallah, a sincere La ilaha illallah, that will be weightier and heavier than all of their sins on the other side. Because actions are based upon intentions and the sincerity and the purity of those intentions. So therefore a small action may be grand because of its great intention, and a great action or a grand spectacle may be small, insignificant because of a bad intention. Another of the ulama said, learn how to make intentions, because this is from the most profound of actions. Learn how to correct and rectify your intentions, because this is from the most profound of actions. Another one of the ulama said, the correctness of the heart, is by the correctness of actions, and the correctness of actions is by the correctness of the intentions. Your heart will be corrected if you are aiding your heart with good actions, but the good actions will only be good actions if they're done with a good intention. So intentions with actions have the impact on the heart, and therefore rectifying the heart. If you do a lot of adhkar, but your intention is otherwise, then it will have no effect on your heart. There will be no amal al-qalb. It will not be affecting it. Okay? Another one of the ulama said, قال Zayd al-Shami, he said, I love that I should have a good intention in every matter, even when I eat, even when I drink, and of course the list carries on, when you wear, when you clothe, when you do your daily matters, when you go to job, when you come back from work, your intentions are everything. Right? So this is very, 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 very profound. Very, very profound statements. So what then damages your intention? How does a person's intention get damaged or destroyed? Is when you basically stop that intention. You started your salah with an intention, then into the first rak'ah your intention got corrupted. You lost it, you lost focus. So therefore your intention has been damaged. Or if you're not sure why you're doing it. Sometimes we have a mixture of intentions. I'm going to Umrah because of 1, 2, 3, 4. And of them is ibadah too. I'm going to the masjid because of 1, 2, 3, 4. Of them is ibadah. Taraddud. You're doubtful. You're not sure. You're not fixated on your intention and the purity of it. So your intention will be destroyed by its discontinuing, or its conflating and conflating with many other intentions, or confusing with many other intentions. That will damage your intention. Or moving on from that intention. You made that intention, then you moved on to a different intention afterwards. You started good, but then you changed it afterwards. So that's a bit similar to the first, which is it's stopping. So therefore we have to ensure that when we make an intention, we do not discontinue it, we are not unsure of it, uncertain of it, and we do not change it thereafter. Very, very important. Now, a few more statements of the Salaf regarding how to cure and rectify and correct our intentions. Sufyan al-Thawri said, "Ma عالجت شيئا أشد علي من نيتي," that I have never dealt with, that I have never corrected, that I have never cured anything more severe than my intention, because it keeps on changing. Intention keeps on changing. Mind keeps on changing. Another one of the scholars said, purifying the intention from its corruption is more severe, more difficult than long, big actions. For some people, for many of us, doing a whole night of Qiyamul Layl is easier than correcting my intention for 2 rak'at of salah. Does that make sense to you? It's more difficult for many people, for most of us, that I focus 2 rak'at of salah completely for the sake of Allah, beginning to end, not navigating, not moving, not becoming distracted. That's harder for most of us than doing a whole night of Qiyamul Layl. Isn't that correct? Proof is, you'll find yourself easily being able to attend Taraweeh for 2-3 hours and Qiyamul Layl. But try to find yourself in secrecy worshipping Allah privately only for the sake of Allah for 10 minutes. You'll find yourself that you're lazy, you're unable to, you can't focus. So therefore that goes to show, long, difficult, hard, challenging tasks are often easier to people than correction of intention, because intention is such a dangerous, such a moving, such a subtle, such a sophisticated matter. But the one who can correct it, grip it, fixate it, focus it, then that's truly the successful one. That's why Allah said, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Indeed, the believers are successful. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Those who have khushu' in their salah. Because the person that has khushu' in their salah has fixated, corrected their intention, is focused only on Allah, and that is the first sign of success. So big, long tasks with failed intentions is actually nothing compared to small actions with pure intentions. Another one of the ulama said, there are certain things that will benefit you. Take these advices. If you are able to do these things, these will benefit you. He said, if you are able to know, if you are able to know but not be known, then do that. If you're able to know but not become famous, then prefer that. Prefer to know Allah, know the deen, know the shara, be a talib, be a alim, but not be known, then that's better for you. Because when you become known and tu'raf, ma'roof, then the fasad and the problems of ujub and shuhra and riya come in. So this is first advice. If you are able to know but not be known, then prefer the former and not the latter. If you're able to hear but not be heard of, then prefer the former. That you're learning and you hear, you're listening, you're benefiting. But it's not about that. It's not that you are trying to be heard by others. It's not about you. It's not about you being heard by others. It's about you hearing to rectify. And yet, subhanAllah, in today's day and age, most of the concern today is about others. That person is wrong. That person is this. That. Me. What about me? People are focused on everybody else's salah in the jama'ah then except for their own salah. As an imam, we hear complaints. This person's salah, this person's that salah. And I think sometimes to myself, Ya akhi, where was your salah? If you're so fixated and so busy with everyone else's salah, what happened to your salah? I can't say that because they'll get upset. But of course, we have to give tarbiyah slowly with time. But subhanAllah, this is a fact. It is a matter of fact. So if you're able to listen and hear and not be heard, that's better for you. If you're able to sit at the feet of ulama to learn, then do that instead of people sitting to you. So, according to this statement, you guys are in a better position than me right now. Because you are seeking knowledge, and I'm trying to pass it on. So I am in a riskier position than you. Because I'm here in front of you, I'm here in front of the cameras, and I'm in a riskier position. The pollution of my intention is more possible. Whereas you, sitting here, you're not focused on anything, inshallah, except to please Allah and to learn about Allah. So this is, but of course, many of these actions of teaching and ta'aleem is from the sunnah, and it must be done. And so that means the duty of doing that is upon the people of responsibility, and they must ensure that their intention is correct. But this is a guiding statement to say, what should you prefer? Like right now, if someone told me, hey, go and teach or go and learn, what do I prefer? I should prefer to go and learn. If someone said, go and listen, or let others listen to you. You should say, I'd rather go and listen myself. Whereas what do? I'd rather speak than listen. I'd rather be heard than hear. Goes to show how we've messed up our entire discipline is upside down. And the sicknesses of the heart are what's guiding our actions. May Allah guide us and allow for us to rectify these matters. Allahumma ameen. Look at this statement. I mean, these are statements of spirituality. Like, they need to be qualified and understood in context. So one of these scholars was saying that it is better for me that I remain sleeping all night and wake up in regret than that I worship Allah all night and wake up with arrogance. Does that make sense? Because arrogance is a form of shirk, isn't it? Arrogance is a form of shirk. So he's saying someone worships Allah all night and they wake up with arrogance. That's worse than someone who slept and woke up saying, yeah, if only I had the opportunity to wake up. But of course, the successful one is the one that's able to worship Allah and remain grateful to Allah. Allah, thank you for allowing me. Allah, allow me to remain sincere and consistent. Okay? Another one of the scholars said, hide your good deeds just like you hide your bad deeds. Hide your good deeds just like you hide your bad deeds. But we hide our bad deeds. Actually, do you know what? Not everyone nowadays. People, in fact, nowadays try to show their bad deeds. Yo, I'm a gangster. Yo, I got shot 5 times, but I'm still breathing. Whatever they say. Look at me. I'm such a big guy. Yo, my Jahiliyyah days, man was top G. Exposing their own sins. So this statement is saying, hide your good deeds even so that no one knows and that you are not struck by riyah, just like you hide your bad deeds. But we are in a situation where we have to say, hide your bad deeds, please, and also your good deeds. Allahu Musta'an. Look, one of the great scholars, Tabi'een, Al-A'mash says, one of the scholars, he used to pray in the night. Qiyamul Layl Tahajjud. And if someone used to come into his house, he used to pretend to be sleeping. Why? So that no one asks him, oh, mashallah, you're doing Qiyamul Layl, you're a good guy. He doesn't want this secret ibadah between him and Allah to be known by anybody. It's between him and his Rabb. This is the level of discipline. And these are the measures they went to in order to hide their good deeds and remain consistent in their intention. Okay? Another one of the scholars said, similar to what Labid said, that anything with which Allah is not sought is useless, is weak, it will deteriorate, it will be of no benefit. Okay? Another one of the scholars said, there are many pious servants of Allah. There are many pious servants of Allah who cry all night to Allah for decades. There are many pious servants of Allah who cry in the night to Allah for decades. He said 20 years. And even his wife does not know. Even his wife does not know. That's the level of privacy, secrecy, and khalwa of ibadah. Because the hadith also mentions that from the 7 groups of people that will be shaded under Allah's throne Yawm al-Qiyamah is رَجُلٌ ذَكَرَ اللَّهَ خَالِيًا فَفَاضَتْ عَيْنَهُ. The man who remembered Allah in secrecy, in privacy, alone, and his eyes shed tears. So to action that he's saying, there are pious servants of Allah who cry in the night to Allah, and there is such a secret matter that even their wives don't know. These are not ultimate examples for everybody, because the Prophet ﷺ used to wake up his family for tahajjud, and his spouse used to see that. But this is, we see the level of, and the extent to which certain ulama and the salaf, they went in order to correct their intentions. Okay? One of the great scholars, or one of the great ubbad, he says, Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad said, he said, this is a powerful statement, wallahi, this is a powerful statement. He said, to leave an action for the sake of people is showing off. To leave a bad deed because people are watching is showing off. Because you are only stopping to please people. You are only stopping to show people that you don't do that. That's a form of showing off. So leaving an action because of people is actually an indirect form of showing off. Is riya. And riya and showing off is a form of shirk. And he said, actions for the sake of people are shirk. And sincerity is that Allah allows for you to abstain from this. Meaning, you are abstaining from actions for the sake of Allah. And you are doing actions for the sake of Allah, not for the sake of people at all. Nothing is about people. It's all about our Creator, our Rabb, and perfecting our intention for that reason, for Him, Rabbul Izzati Jalla Jalaluh. So one of the questions that came to one of the scholars said, how come the speech, like for example, all this time you're just hearing statements of the Salaf, and you're like silent, right? But if I was to quote to you, like saying, oh, these are my statements, you'd be like, khalas, you'll have no intention. You'll have no attention span, will not capture it. But you've been captured by these statements of these Salaf and the pious and the Salihin. So a similar question was raised in the past. He says, how come that the kalam of the Salaf, the speech of the Salaf, the pious predecessors, is more beneficial to us than our own speech? How come? So it was answered to him saying, because they spoke for the honor of Islam only, for the sake of Islam, and for saving the nufus, the souls, and the rida of Ar-Rahman, okay, وَنَجَاتُ النُّفُوس وَرِضَى الرَّحْمَنِ, and for the pleasure of Allah only. As for us, when we speak, then it's for our own dignity, and to seek the dunya, and so that people accept us. Allah accepts a statement, Allah accepts a abid, Allah accepts a person when they are sincere to Allah only. There's no other way. You may harness all of the algorithms of the world today and become supremely famous today by using the dunya. Invest loads of money and become really famous, you know, Facebook ads and Instagram ads and promoted reels. But you will not pass the test of time. You will dissipate. You will vaporize like the water vapor in the air if your intention isn't correct, if Allah doesn't accept it, if you're not sincerely for the sake of Allah. Allah's religion and Allah and His Islam is much more valuable, much more needless than to use your corrupted, ill-intended actions. Allah's deen is pure. Allah doesn't need your impure actions to try and support you. You are only serving yourself, self-interest, and it will die with yourself. And yet you find scholars that you've never met in your life, but all your life you're mentioning their names and benefiting from them. The likes of Imam al-Bukhari. Have you met him? Imam Muslim, Imam Nawawi, these scholars of the past, Abu Hanifa, the Aim al-Arba. You never met them. They're not related to you. And yet the entire Ummah is repeating their names. It shows the level of qabool and acceptance that Allah, لا نزكي على الله أحدا. We don't know exactly what Allah wants from them or how much Allah has accepted them, but we're optimistic that these are signs of Allah's acceptance. Subhanallah. So my brothers and my sisters, do you understand the level of importance that Islam has given to intentions? I will end today's session, inshallah, with these final remarks, a very, very important statement from Al-Imam Ibn Al-Qayyim, rahmatullahi alayhi, which has been mentioned in the kitab Risalatul Mustarshideen. Okay? He says, whenever you have a thought in your mind to do a sin, just a thought, a passing whiz thought, you know, just a thought. He said, the moment that thought comes, you must fight it. Because that's the planting of the seed. If you allow that passing thought to go unchecked, khalas, you've allowed for a level of corruption to enter into your heart. He said, the moment you feel an ill thought passing your brain, passing your thought process, it can't go unchecked. Because you must secure your mind, secure your heart with the utmost of security. If someone was looking a bit shady, was to go close to one of those big leaders that have a lot of security protocols, they were like, oh, look a bit suspicious, mate, come here. We're going to check you up. What are you doing around here in Buckingham Palace? What are you doing around here in Parliament Square? You look a bit funny, let's check you up. Your heart and your mind is much more valuable than all of that. So when a problematic, doubtful thought comes to your mind, you must say, wait, hold on. Where did that come from? What's it doing there? You must fight it. Because if you do not check those passing thoughts, it becomes a desire. It's just a passing thought. And that's the problem with movies and dramas and all of these like other things. There's a lot of informative stuff in it, but there are thoughts that are being flown into your mind. This thought, that thought. This sin of the heart, this sin of the eye, this sin of the ear. The thoughts are being passed. And when are you going to go and check them? When is the chance? Do we sit there after every doubtful action to do muhasabatu nafsi? Okay, this was a problem, I got to fight it. Why then do we expose ourselves to such a situation in the first place? So he said, fight, dafi' these thoughts. Because if you don't check it at that moment, it will become a shahwa, it will become a desire. So fight it like you are going to war against it. Because if you don't fight that thought, it will become a shahwa, desire. And if that desire then becomes a azima, a firm intention. And the moment it becomes a firm intention, it's already a sin. That first thought is forgiven. The shahwa is also forgiven. But when that shahwa becomes azima and niyyah, it's already a sin. And if you do not stop the intention, then the intention then becomes an action. So it's a stage by stage process. It's not just waswas. We say, oh, shaitan gave me waswas. It's true, shaitan gave you waswas. But when shaitan gave you waswas, it was just a thought. الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ. It came to your heart and in your mind, I feel like. But at that moment we didn't stop it. We thought, okay, let's process that thought. Let's entertain that thought a bit. So it became a shahwa, a desire. Ooh, wow. I'd love to do that sin. A'udhu billahi min dhalik. And then after that, shahwa, you know what? Not today, it's Friday, but tomorrow, Sat. No, not now, it's Umrah, innit? Let me get back. It's Ramadan, allow it. Give it, let Eid come. I'll go to that concert. I'll do that sin now. I feel like doing. But that only happened because there was 2 stages before it. It became intention because before that was the shahwa and before that it was the khatira, the thought itself. So we've got to stop the thought. And if the intention isn't stopped, then it becomes an action. And if you don't stop the action, then this action becomes what? Habit. Do you see how from small seed becomes a big problem? And if it becomes a habit, then you understand how challenging and how difficult habits are to tackle. And so therefore, all of these shahawat and desires, all of these sins begin with something that is in your control. Ikhtiyari, it's not ijbari at all. And that is why we are held to account for our deeds, because these are all ikhtiyari. We are mukhayyar, we are not musayyar. We are able to choose freely between right and wrong. I could have deterred, fought that thought, I entertained it. So look at how closely these scholars studied the heart and the thought process, so that me and you can easily access this information and say, this is how I monitor my intention and make sure I don't go astray. So therefore we need to watch very closely, monitor our thoughts, monitor our intentions, okay? And then there's a longer statement on this, right? But I just want to end with this statement, or this part of his statement. It says, he says, Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullah says, Allah has made the heart, and nafs, the heart of the soul, the heart of the spiritual heart. He said, it's like a mill. It's like a grinder. As in a mill that grinds seeds, makes it into wheat and bread. He said that nafs will grind, and it will sort of do its job of squashing it into pieces, of processing whatever is put inside it. Right? So our nafs, my heart, my soul, with its 5 senses, the eyes, the ears, the touch, the feel, the taste, the smell. These are all avenues, the 5 senses, the wings, the arms with which I perceive the dunya. And all of that has been fed into my mind, into my heart, and into my spiritual soul. That spiritual soul, my nafs, okay, It's like a mill. It's like something that grinds. Whatever you feed it with your senses, it will process it. Whatever you feed your soul, with your eyes, with your ears, with your thoughts, with your smell, with your tongue, your heart will process it. It will process whether it's good or bad. I mean, if Allah gave us a soul that only processes good, then khalas, there's no test, there's no ibtila, there is no imtihan. But Allah gave us a nafs that processes good and bad, and that's the test. So they says the heart is like a mill. Think of it. Whatever you give it, it will grind it. So what do? We prevent it, we protect it. If you have a precious machine, for example, someone has a money printing machine. Okay, money. I had a funny story once about this. And if someone has a money printing machine, you're going to protect it from all sides to make sure no average paper is coming in, because your money is going to get corrupted. You're going to make sure only what's supposed to be processed, processes. So our heart, our soul is such a mill, such a printer, such a process which will process what we feed it. So it's up to us what we feed it. So it says, it's like a continuously spinning mill, and it does not stop, and it will process and grind whatever is given to it. If you process and if you throw within it dust, it will process that. And if you throw within it seeds to make it into wheat, and to make it into barley, and to make it into bread, then it will process that. Meaning, Allah has given you this system of perception, and seeking and understanding, but we have the control of how we use these senses. Okay? And there's a very profound statement of Imam Ghazali on this, and maybe I can share it on another occasion, but it's very, very powerful. And it's to do with sort of dhikr and khalwa and restraining these senses and allowing for the ilm of ma'rifah, of knowing Allah, to sprout from within by dhikr, by ibadah, by solitude, by ikhlas, by sincerity. But that's a profound statement that needs to be unpacked quite a bit, and I think we've done quite a bit today. So inshallah, we'll end it here for today. Are there any questions? Yes.
But you said that our intention is to be purely for the sake of Allah.
Yeah.
But say, for instance, we do something, say, that also gives us pleasure. Say, for instance, charity. We can do charity, say, to, just give a random example, to a homeless kind of grumpy man, and to a child. We know that if we give the charity to an orphan, he's going to be really happy that we're giving the money, we're going to see him smiling, and all that. We're going to be really happy to see the child happy for the charity that we gave to him. While the homeless person might not even acknowledge what we did, might be, so is he then, does that invalidate our...
No, it doesn't. Look, the feeling good from good actions is a glad tiding from Allah. Okay? It's a benefit, it's an early reward from Allah. As long as your intention was accurate. If my intention was for the sake of Allah, I'm going to feed this child, and then seeing his reaction makes me happy, then this is an early form of reward from Allah, that I feel good from seeing that child's happiness. It doesn't invalidate the former, as long as the intention is correct.
And choosing between the two, if I choose a child over...
No, our choice of who to give sadaqah to should not be based upon what makes me feel better. It should be based upon who needs it more.
Say they need both needs it equally.
Then khalas, then you can choose. But again, watching the intention. But again, if the intention, like, we are allowed to feel good from our ibadah, as long as it was done for Allah. And that feeling good is a glad tiding, is an early reward, is advance payment from Allah for your good action. Like, for example, if you do your salah properly, your tilawah properly, you live your life according to Islam, you feel good, you feel content. That is a reward from Allah early. It's nothing, it's just the beginning. It's just a percentage of what you're owed from Allah, what Allah will give you as a reward for those good actions. It's a bushra, as the hadith says. Any other questions?
Who was it that made the statement, if you leave something bad out purely for the sake of other people watching, then that itself is showing off?
That was Fudail ibn Iyad. Fudail ibn Iyad was when he was actually he transformed his life. He used to be a highway robber. Then he became one of the greatest ubbad and zuhad of the past, of the early generations. And he's a reference point for asceticism and for zuhud and for ilm and for piety and for the sciences of tazkiyatun nafs. Okay, any other questions? If not, we'll wrap it up here, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.